Friedrich Nietzsche, the philosopher who declared God is dead, spent much of his life in isolation, plagued by mental and physical illness. His revolutionary ideas about morality, the Übermensch, and the will to power rocked the foundations of Western philosophy. But Nietzsche, too, was a tragic figure. His ideas were misinterpreted, twisted by political regimes, and he himself died in madness, his brilliant mind lost to a mental collapse. Yet his legacy lives on as a powerful force, shaking the core of existential thought and individualism. The man who revolutionized physics, Einstein's work reshaped the very fabric of reality. Yet beneath the quiet genius was a man who struggled with the implications of his discoveries, particularly when his theories were used to create the atomic bomb. In a world where he had unveiled the nature of the universe, Einstein could not control the chaos that his own work had unleashed. Jean-Jacques Rousseau's influence on political thought and education is immeasurable. His works, particularly The Social Contract, inspired revolutionary ideas about the rights of the people and the role of government. Yet Rousseau's life was marked by constant inner conflict and personal tragedy, from the loss of his children to the deep loneliness of his later years. His philosophy on human freedom and democracy birthed revolutions, but the personal cost was immense as he became increasingly isolated and paranoid. John Locke, one of the most influential thinkers of the Enlightenment, laid the intellectual groundwork for liberal democracy and the modern state. His ideas about the social contract, natural rights, and government by consent would inspire revolutions across the world. But Locke's life was filled with personal turmoil, from his early struggles to his political exile. Despite these struggles, Locke's revolutionary ideas on individual liberty and government shaped the birth of nations and the vision of freedom in the modern world. Karl Marx, the man whose ideas would birth revolutions and radically transform the social and political landscape of the modern world, spent much of his life in poverty, his intellectual fire burning with fierce intensity. He wrote the Communist Manifesto and Das Kapital in obscurity, often struggling to feed his family. Marx was not a man of comfort, but a man of purpose. His work, forever changing the idea of class, labor, and government. His theories, though controversial, gave birth to global movements, while his life was a struggle against poverty and unyielding oppression. Martin Luther King, Jr.B., transformed the American civil rights movement with his message of peace and nonviolence. His leadership and eloquent speeches, such as his iconic "I Have a Dream," inspired a generation. But King's journey was fraught with danger, and his pursuit of justice came at a high personal cost. He was assassinated in 1968, but his death sparked a fire for change that would forever alter the course of American history. His legacy of equality and peace continues to inspire today. René Descartes, the father of modern philosophy, was a man whose question of cogito, ergo sum, I think, therefore I am, would guide the world into a new era of self-awareness and scientific inquiry. Yet, behind his brilliant mind was a man haunted by the pursuit of certainty and the agony of questioning everything, even his own existence. Descartes' life was marked by personal turmoil, as his relentless questioning of reality led to isolation and doubt, but his intellect forever altered the course of philosophy and science. Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, dissected the human mind with a precision that both enthralled and disturbed. His theories about the unconscious, repressed desires, and childhood traumas opened doors to understanding the complexities of the human psyche. Yet, Freud's personal life was rife with contradictions, as his own neuroses and addictions often clashed with his groundbreaking theories. His legacy, though powerful, is also burdened with the dark truths about human nature that he dared to explore, even as he lived in constant inner conflict. Thomas Paine's pamphlet, Common Sense, helped ignite the American Revolution and inspired the colonies to fight for independence. His writings were revolutionary, advocating for freedom, democracy, and human rights. However, Paine's life was marred by controversy and personal loss. He was vilified by some of his contemporaries, and in his final years, he lived in relative obscurity. Paine's ideas helped shape the United States, but his personal struggles and sacrifices were often overlooked in favor of his political achievements. Voltaire was a man of sharp wit and sharp criticisms. He championed freedom of speech, religious tolerance, and the separation of church and state, but he did so at a great personal cost. Exiled from France for his outspoken critiques of the monarchy and church, Voltaire spent much of his life in the turmoil of persecution and exile. Yet, despite his hardships, his writings continue to shape the Enlightenment and Western thought, standing as a beacon for free thought and against tyranny.